As we all live longer, age really is just a number. But retirement is so much more than one. Your Metro Detroit Edward Jones financial advisors want to know what you want out of your retirement so we can help get you there. Call us toll free at 866-975-8655 to schedule an appointment. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Your Daily Detroit. It is Veterans Day. Thank you so much for your service. It is Monday, November 11th, 2024. I am Jer Stays. Normally, we would not do an episode on a federal holiday. Other contributors are snug away doing other things. But who is not? Who is here? Who is on the field? Who is ready to play? None other than Fletcher Sharp. Good to talk to you, man.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, look, this to me is the kind of win where you gut it out, where you grit it out, that shows you the kind of team that the Lions are. And that end with Jake Bates, what a story.
I hesitate to give this title out because it's one that feels corny, but also can be the kiss of death. But you throw 5 interceptions, you're supposed to lose. It's supposed to be a blowout. And the fact they could have 5 in a game and keep the game close and find a way to just grit out a win feels like a team of destiny moment where it's like this is a team that's going to find a way to get over the hump this year. This is a team that's going to find their way to a Super Bowl, even potentially win it. Kind of like what the Chiefs are doing at 9-0, where they didn't have the ball for 5 minutes at the end and found a way to block a kick to keep it from going to overtime. Like it's getting a little spooky during parts of the NFL season, and definitely with the Lions gritting out that win, it feels kind of, like they're going to make a movie about this season.
Well, and the Lions had a similar play with Davis denying that touchdown because C.J. Stroud thought he had it. He thought he had an easy touchdown that I think would have broke open this game. And there shows up Davis and just out of nowhere takes care of business. And those are the kind of plays where that defense held it for that first half where Goff and the offense just had nothing going on.
Yeah, as a former quarterback, I don't know what C.J. Stroud is. I guess he really must have thought that Tank Dell was that wide open to where he just could have lobbed it in there and been like, oh, he's good. Because you only make that throw when there's no one there. Like, if he had thrown that on a line, that's a touchdown. If he had thrown it, game speed, that's a touchdown. But I think he just assumed there was no one in the area at all. I fooled the Lions defense, and Carlton Davis said, get the ambulance, but not for me, and picked off the ball. And while the Lions had a turnover the following possession, it stopped them from scoring. And that's at that point, all you want to do is stop the bleeding, because Jared Goff has an insane stat that it makes me upset that I found this out. This is the 7th game that Jared Goff has thrown at least 4 interceptions in his career. 7. Do you know what his team's record is in those 7 games? 7-0. That's such a stupid stat to find out. That's so dumb. Like, you shouldn't feel at ease when your quarterback throws 4 or 5 interceptions. But I guess with the Lions now, it's like, oh, he's got 4. Oh, this is in the bag. They're good. Like, that's such a stupid stat. But it's a stat nonetheless, and it held true. The team picked up around him, and even Jared Goff picked it up in the second half. And people are probably wondering, why did he struggle? Like, why? What's up with that? So Jared Goff is a good drop back quarterback with not much pressure in a man-to-man situation. So man-to-man defense is when the people are marking you directly. So I'm standing directly in front of you. You are the person I am covering. The Texans went with a lot of zone coverage, which is I'm responsible for this area here. If you play man-to-man, you can just throw the ball into his space if your guys beat him, and he'll get the ball. If you play zone, you have to throw the ball in windows. Like, you have to throw it between people. You can't just lob it up there and say, go get it. It's what made Kelvin Johnson that much more special, because you didn't man, zone, whatever. You can just throw it up there and he'll go get it. The Lions don't have someone like that now. So you have to be finding pockets of space to throw. And they were blitzing Jared Goff in right situations. Not every single play, but when it mattered, they were in his face, and he was throwing the ball quicker than he wanted to. One of the interceptions he threw He threw it to Sam Laporta, who was still trying to make the cut on the. He was not expecting the ball to come at all, but the defensive back literally saw it, made a great play. I mean, the first interception, he had to get rid of the ball before he wanted to. Someone tipped it. It fell to someone else. Another one, he had to get rid of the ball before he wanted to. Defensive lineman grabbed his arm. The ball goes into the air, falls to someone else. Like, all of them were just the fact that they switched up their coverage from what he was expecting, and it made him have to think a second too long. And unfortunately, turnovers resulted. But the Lions cleaned it up in the second half. So, I mean,
What changed? Because it seems like that O-line was just collapsing in the first half.
they started to run the ball more. Like, they were the reason why the Lions have been good all season. It's been the run game and been Jared Goff. And it's been a tandem, because when the run game is good, there's almost no one better in the NFL at play action pass than Jared Goff. But if you don't have a run game, play action doesn't matter. Play action's point is to fool you into thinking it's a run before you turn around and throw the ball. But if we know that you're not running the ball, or you're running the ball at a horrible rate, we know you're not actually going to run the ball. So when we see you turn to hand the ball off, everyone's going to drop back anyways. So when they see you step back to say, oh, it's a pass, we're like, we're already ready. Like, surprise, we knew it was a pass. You're not running the ball. So they committed themselves to setting the line and running the ball and playing tough. And it allowed the play action pass to work. You literally saw it where there's a play where they set up play action pass, and look who's open, Sam Laporta in the end zone. Set a play action pass again. Sam Laporta's open, cutting across the field, gets almost down to the goal line. David Montgomery punches it in a few plays later. We're like, you have to set the run game. Like, Ben Johnson is a very talented guy, a very smart guy, but sometimes he gets way too cute and forgets that sometimes you just got to take the ball and push it down someone's throat for 4 to 5 yards. You have to just try to do it. Even if it gets knocked back for whatever, you have to set the run game to make them respect it. And when they respect it, it's when you get to do all the little cute pass plays. But if you keep trying to do all those cute pass plays and you don't do the little gritty meat and potatoes, it's like when you go sit down for dinner and you're like, you have your steak, you have your vegetable, you have whatever. And if you eat all that, you get your little ice cream cup. Ben Johnson wants the ice cream cup before all of that. And if you don't eat all the other stuff, you're not going to get the ice cream cup. If you don't do the little gritty run plays, the little inside traps, everything of the sort to set the edge, to set the run game, to make people have to step up and defend it, you can't throw all those little cute play action passes, little trick plays and all that, because no one's falling for it. Because at that point, you'll be so far behind, they know something goofy is coming.
Zadarius Smith did not play last night, but he looked like another member of the coaching staff. It was kind of epic.
Yeah, someone said, I think it was either Chris or his son, Jack Collingsworth, veterans want to come to the Lions. And so to see someone come in and not have a bye week, and the coach gives him a bye week, and he's like, I want to play, but I will do what I can to help this team. And he comes out there and is helping to break down what's happening with his teammates, who have only been his teammates for less than a week, just about. And he's like, I want to get in here and help any way that I can. If it means, hey, I saw this on the tape, you guys should do this. You should do this. You should hear some advice here. And for them to take it and to go from there. And even the fans are already like, we love this guy. Like, look at him. Look at this guy walking by. We recognize him. Like, free agents want to come here. And to have free agent veterans who want to come here and want to impart. Carlton Davis has been impactful on the secondary as someone coming in. Same, like you said, Zadarius. Just people want to come here and they want to come and impart wisdom. And you have veterans who know what they're talking about and can help change the game, not just with their play, but like with their mind as well, even if they're not playing. It's such a game breaker. And that's something the Lions haven't had in the past. They've had some really young, talented players who didn't have veterans there to lead, or the wrong type of veteran leadership, and it went the wrong way. So to see them all kind of pulling the right way, and to see Zadarius get here and realize like, oh, wow, this is how they're going to do stuff. I can fit in the right way. I don't want to say it's a Patriot way, because the Patriot way feels plastic and gross, and the way the Lions are moving feels exciting, but it's pretty similar to have one mindset and one sound to move to.
The long leg of Jake Bates makes a huge difference to me, where you can basically just get in opposition territory a little bit, and there's a good chance you're going to come out of there with 3 points, even if things go sideways. It's a game changer.
I'm kind of surprised at 58 yards they sent out Jake Bates, because I do know that Dan Campbell Bates has been great from 50 plus, but Dan Campbell's still been trying to like go for it on fourth and whatever he can to try to push the edge and make the game a little bit more tight. So when I saw him go through for 58 yards, I was like, well, he has a chance he can hit this one. And accuracy-wise, it just dinks in off the post. But distance-wise, that thing would have been good from 68 yards. Like, you saw Kai-Mani Fairbairn hit his from 56, and you saw the ball just barely go over the bottom pylon. It just barely squeaked in. Jake Bates hit the back of the end zone. It went through, and it wasn't caught. It was like it hit off the wall and down. And that means when he hit it with enough juice to where, like, you didn't... This would have been good from 5-10 more yards behind. So when I saw him do that, it's like, well, if he keeps the accuracy down, if they need him to kick again, like, he'll be good. And again, for the game-winning kick, almost off the it feels like he was trying to make it more exciting than he needed to do. It's like, oh, I know I can nail it from 70. How about I do some little trick shots? Like, just off the post. Like they're playing horse. And he's like, one eye closed, off the right, upright, in there, or something else. And it shows how serious it is, because I sent Fairbairn out there for another field goal to try to take the lead. And in his home stadium, he hooked it super wide. Like, it's one of those kicks that coming off his foot, you could tell it was not going in. Like, typically there's a chance where it's like, it might be close. As he hit it and you saw it hook, you're like, there's no way that's going in. That is such a wide kick. And then to see someone else come down on your field and do the same exact kick and sneak it in the upright, it's got to be a terrible feeling as a kicker. But it's got to be super elating for Jake Bates to come back to his home state in front of a team that actually picked him up during free agency before he found his way to the Panthers, released him because they didn't have space for him. So to come back in their home stadium in front of your home friends and do that, especially a year out after being a brick salesman for Acme, which sounds fake, but as I said multiple times.
When they said it on the air, I'm like, did he work with Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd?
Yeah. I mean, I know that there is an Acme Corporation in Texas, as loony as that sounds as well. But when I heard Acme Bricks, I was like, all right, you're the guy who's keeping Wile E. Coyote well staffed, I see. But yeah, to see him come there and do that and to be one of the people who watched his kind of emergence with the Panthers. Like, I still have the video of his game-winning kick from 68, 69 yards at Ford. I still have it. I remember when he lined up to kick it, I was like, all right, well, this is kind of crazy to let a guy kick from this far, but, why not? And then he went for the first kick, and they blew the whistle, and he hit it. And I was like, okay, well, that was exciting.
You were at Ford Field covering the Panthers for us, and so you got to see Bates develop.
Yeah, I got to see the first one, and I was like, all right, well, he hit the first one. He's got to do it again, though. Let me get my phone out just to be safe. Like, and a few of my friends were watching the game. They were texting me like, "You hit that kick? That's crazy!" And I'm like, "Stop! I'm recording. Like, stop! I need my phone to record properly." And soon after, he hit another one. And I was like, "Wow! If he could get on an NFL team that has the need for a kicker and some distance, he could do something." And it was Bates mania the rest of that season, and the Lions were like, yo, we could use that. And so far, he's been 12 for 12 from 50 yards plus. He's been a dynamic weapon for this offense. Kind of like you said, of course they want to get 7 points. They want to get 6 points. They want to get as close to the end zone as possible. But if the drive stalls at, the opponent's 38, 40-yard line, and it's late in the game, you can take a chance and kick a field goal from deep. Because he's shown in a big game so far, he can do it. And I know earlier in the season, they didn't want to send him out there like that. And Dan Campbell had a legit reason. Early on in the season, if I put him in a position to fail, that's my fault. And they wanted to let him get, the wind under his wings a bit, get some of the more NFL style type of playing, the speed adjustment, because UFL is professional football, but it's a whole different beast from the NFL for sure. And it feels like Jake Bates has finally found his, equal out moment to be the kicker who can help the Lions succeed.
The Jacksonville Jaguars come to town on Sunday, game time, 1 p.m. How are we feeling? I mean, I always get a little nervous after a great win like this, but this is, I think the Lions march forward.
I hate to sound like one of these people, but it's going to be a repeat of the Titans game. Maybe not 50-something to 14, But the Jacksonville Jaguars lost to the Minnesota Vikings 12-7 in a game where they did not allow a touchdown at all, picked off the opposing quarterback 3 times, and still found a way to lose. So
Yeah, they're only 2-8 right now.
yeah, they're in a bit of a free fall. I mean, they're always in a free fall. The Jacksonville Jaguars have been bad for the majority of their NFL tenure. There's like a few years where they were pretty decent with David Garrard and Byron Leftwich. But after that, and Marion Jones-Drew. But after that, they've just been bad. Like a bad franchise. And to see the Lions go from being an equally bad franchise to like a good one, it means that there is definitely hope for sure for them to turn it around. But there won't be hope this next Sunday. It's going to be kind of like the Titans game where Jared Goff doesn't have an explosive game, but like he has a few touchdowns, maybe not that many yards, and they just run the ball down their throat most of this game over and over and over. Hopefully Ben Johnson doesn't get too cute and forgets that he has 2 running backs who are top 15 in yards in the league, and they just maul them on the field. And yeah, I see at least, I don't know, like 30 to like 14 victory. Something like that. I'm not going to say 50-something to 14 because those are aberrations. While the Lions do have 2 50-point victories this season, you can't just go out there and expect it to happen because, again, while the Jacksonville Jaguars are a bad football team, they are a team of professional football players, and they have pride as well. I don't think they're going to try to let someone put 50 points on them like that.
To close out, one of the things I couldn't help but think about while watching this game on TV was just the energy of Lions fans in other towns. And I am continuing to make this argument, and I said it on social media, and I actually got a number of people agreeing, including Cowboys fans, that Detroit is now America's team. Cemented. Because not just because of our play, not just because of Dan Campbell and his kneecap soup, but because how Lions fans across America show up.
I think, honestly, the craziest part of the night, aside from the 5 interceptions and a victory, was when the Lions were going into half down 23-7. You could still audibly hear people chanting, "Let's go Lions." In Reliant Stadium, Houston Texans home stadium. You could still hear people chanting, "Let's go Lions." And as the game got tight, Tony Dungy said this at the end. He's like, I didn't look at the field goal because it was anxiety. I didn't look at it go in. He's like, I heard people cheering, loud cheers, and I thought that he'd missed. And I turned around and I see that it's a bunch of Honolulu Blue fans cheering for the Lions field goal for the game-winning kicker. Do you know how nuts it is to go to a game in your home stadium and be outnumbered by the opposing fans? Like, that's something. There are so many long-suffering Lions fans who are like, I've been waiting so many years to take a trip to follow this football team being good for once. I will do it right now. Now they are finally good. And it's got to be demoralizing as a player for a home team to look up and be like, we got our fans, and look up and realize, oh man, half our fans are the opposing team. Wow. We got kind of outnumbered in our own stadium. And to see them stay after late and celebrate at your own I'm not a big fan culture guy, as most people know, but it's got to feel weird to look up and see the game over. You're walking back to your car and the opposing team's fans are still in your bleachers celebrating with the players walking around through. Like, it's gonna be like, man, that's such a weird feel. So yeah, I mean, I guess they're America's team in the way that they're always being talked about. Because while there are people who fall in love with the Lions story, I do know that there are some Cowboys fans, a lot of Packers fans, and a lot of Vikings fans who stayed up really late last night to watch that game, who are really upset that the Lions found a way to win. Because they're waiting for that bubble to burst. Like, Vikings fans every week are like, oh, the Lions, they're really dirty. Oh, the Lions, they're not that good. And it's like, yeah, they beat you, though. So... And then Packers fans are like, the Lions aren't that great. It's like, but they beat you, though. So, like, if they're not that great, what does it say about you?
Yeah, I think that last Vikings game, that last game of the year on January 5th, is going to be wild because of that, because of those fans.
Don't let that game matter. If that game matters in any capacity, the fans are going to be it's going to be such an insane atmosphere. If it's just a game where it's like, okay, well, this is wrapping up a division title for either team or for someone else, then okay. But if that game matters in any capacity at all outside of just rivalry, it's going to be a pressure cooker of an environment. Ford Field is going to be nuts. It's going to be absolutely nuts at that stadium.
Fletcher Sharp, so good to talk to you. Thank you for making time on a holiday. I really appreciate you.
Of course. I mean, especially for this, it's a really important topic, and people love the Lions, and I love to break down sports, so.
All right, with that, I am J.R. Stace. Thank you so much to our members on Patreon, patreon.com/dailydetroit, who help keep this stuff going. We, of course, will be back in your favorite podcast app tomorrow. Thank you so much for listening. Remember that you are somebody. Take care of yourself.